Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield. Thank you for joining us this week and every week, every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at broadfield.live. We have a great show on the schedule for you today. We're about halfway through the quarter, and I want to make sure that I reintroduce some of the great TriCaster Vizion promotions and how to sell the TriCaster Vizion to all of your customers looking for a flagship device for live production and streaming. I also want to mention that Broadfield has a lot of great shows coming up. We will be down in Atlanta for the SVG College Summit. If you are making a plan to go to that show, please let your Broadfield sales rep know. We would love to connect with you there in Atlanta. We are also looking forward to the Infocom show this June in Orlando. Infocom has really turned out to be a major event in our industry as the Pro AV and Broadcast AV worlds are colliding. The same companies that we see every April in Vegas at the NAB show now have booths at the Infocom show as well. And we have a great booth with some great workflows for all of our products. And I have to thank Glen, our Director of Sales Engineering, for helping to put together some of those workflows that we will be showing off at the Infocom show. And in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to invite Glen to join us on today's show to talk about the brand new Vizrt TriCaster Vizion. TriCaster Vizion is their newest flagship live production and streaming system built on Vizrt's DNA. It is Vizrt all the way through with all the improvements and everything they've done to the TriCaster engine, full integration with Flowics and more. It is the new flagship device and the latest addition that replaces the TriCaster 2 Elite. The TriCaster 2 Elite was a top-selling system for a number of years, and you may even have customers that purchased the TriCaster 2 Elite right before or during the pandemic. Now, that is already about 5 or 6 years old. It is a perfect time to take advantage of a trade-up to the TriCaster Vizion. TriCaster Vizion has some great opportunities available this quarter. I know we introduced them already, but I want to re-emphasize them as we are halfway through the quarter. It is a perfect opportunity to quote and send these out to all of your prospective customers. $4,000 off a TriCaster Vizion with a free VizConnect audio. A TriCaster 2 Elite trade-up offer for all of your customers looking to upgrade to the latest and greatest with TriCaster Vizion. Or a $9,000 savings off of the Ultimate Production Bundle with the TriCaster Vizion, the Flex Dual Control Panel, and VizConnect Audio. We're going to talk more about all of these great promotions and how they fit into that TriCaster product line today. So without further ado, let me introduce our Director of Sales Engineering, Glen Seaman, who's going to join us now to talk a lot about these TriCaster Vizion features. Hey, Glen, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Jim, my pleasure. Good to see you.
So we're talking about the TriCaster Vizion being the latest and greatest in the flagship of the TriCaster family of products. And with that, they bring a lot of visionary new features. Can you tell us about some of these highlights for our dealers and what they're going to show off to their customers in positioning these systems?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and the biggest change that this is the first time you've got a TriCaster running on common off-the-shelf hardware. So this is not a purpose, a dedicated machine like the previous TriCasters. This is actually an HP workstation. Comes in 2 different flavors. You can either get a rack mount 1RU version. We'll talk about both of these in a little depth, and also a desktop version. But you've got really a powerful PC with a dedicated NVIDIA card in that. And that's going to really show off a lot of power, and that's where a lot of the features come from. So the first thing is, you've got flexibility on I/O. So for the first time, you can choose the I/O that you want, whether you want no I/O, whether you want 8 channels or 16 channels of I/O. The I/O is configurable, so you've got the ability to do 12G on those, so you can have up to 8 12G connections. So the I/O is completely flexible as to how many you're using for 12G, how many you're using for 3G. It's also flexible as to whether they're inputs or outputs. So you can control, how many inputs you need, how many outputs you need. The TriCaster Vizion has the most amount of live inputs of any system. You've got a total of 44 external inputs. So you can have, again, 16 SDI inputs. You can have up to another combination of IP formats, whether that be NDI, SRT, RTMP, anything, DDRs, a lot of power there. I mentioned that NVIDIA card. That NVIDIA card starts to get you into some very powerful AI features. So the first one that's really neat is something called AI gaze correction. And what that means is, it'll always make sure that your talent's eyes are looking at the center of the screen. So if you've got somebody kind of like me that's looking at a web page or looking at a PowerPoint presentation and talking to the camera, my eyes will always be dead on center. The other one that is in there is an AI keyer. So this is the ability to basically not have a green screen. So they're actually going to use AI to find out what your talent is and create a key from that. So these are just things that powerful graphics card is giving you. Another great feature they've done is with those 44 inputs and 16 baseband inputs. What they've done is they've made it much easier now. You have a whole new configuration panel where you can go in and from one page just go in and lay out all of your inputs. So you can say this camera source is going to this video input, this input. So it's much quicker to go in and lay out where all your sources are going to go and the channels that they're going to be on. So that's a really nice improvement too. So just, in a general UI refresh, they've done a lot to kind of streamline the UI with all the things that they're doing. So really, this is a big step up in the TriCaster family.
Absolutely. And you talked a lot about the TriCaster Vizion hardware and all the great hardware improvements they've put into the system. But this is also the first flagship device that takes advantage of the Vizrt DNA, where it really leverages all of their software platforms. You talked about the new UI and the TriCaster interface, but you're also getting TriCaster graphics that are powered by Flowics and other software tools like those AI capability to really get the best and the latest and greatest that's available in a production environment today, right?
Right, and you get a longer warranty. So yes, you get the Flowics included in that. You've got a much longer warranty, so you've got a 3-year hardware warranty. So again, just a lot of great stuff coming from this.
Absolutely. And for our dealers who are familiar with the TriCaster Vizion and their launch strategy, you know that they launched 3 desktop models and 2 rack mountable models. What we're going to talk about today are these Q2 promos that are available now and how great they fit in to the market to make it even easier to pitch and quote a TriCaster Vizion sale today. The first is with their promo on the TriCaster Vizion Tower with 16 SDI I/O at a special $4,000 savings with a free VizConnect audio, all for just $33,995, available as part of that promo. Glenn, this is a great package that gives the customers the maximum in both SDI I/O and audio connectivity, right?
Yes, no, this is a great package, and as you mentioned, a lot of the TriCaster TC2 Elites, some of those are coming up on 5 years old. Yep. So now what you've got is a package that's going to give you far more video inputs. So you're going from 32 to 44, so you're going to have more video inputs. You're going to have more processing power. You're going to get that Flowics capability. You've got that 3-year of extended warranty. I think we have a slide that goes over some of the good things here too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I want to do too is talk a little bit about this promotional package and where it fits in against those other bundles. So with the desktop packages, if you're familiar with the 3 desktop models, this bundle, which I'm going to call the 106 bundle, really replaces all 3 of them. It is the same hardware, the 16 SDI I/O, as the BDL00048. And you're getting that $4,000 savings and the VizConnect audio. If you compare it to the desktop tower with 8 SDI I/O, which is the 47 model, this is giving you more inputs, the VizConnect audio, at a lower price. If you're comparing it to the model with no inputs, it is the exact same price with this promotional package. So now you're offering your customers 16 SDI I/O, a free VizConnect audio, all for that $33,995 price. That is the same price as a base configuration regularly priced for a Vizion desktop tower. So this is a great offer, a great bundle that's available. Now, as Glenn was talking, this is a great offer for your customers who have a TriCaster 2 Elite. This same exact bundle that we're talking about is offered with an even deeper discount, a $9,000 trade-up credit for any of your customers that have a TriCaster 2 Elite. So you can reach out to your customers with the TC2E and offer them a 16 SDI desktop version of the TriCaster Vizion with Viz Flowics for 3 years, a 1-year support and maintenance contract, everything they need to get started for just $24,995. Now, Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about how this trade-up program works? Because I know Vizrt looks at this as this flagship system being kind of a mission-critical device.
Yeah, and this is a great thing that they're doing is they realize, that you've got a TriCaster 2 Elite there. That is the heart and the core of your production. They are not going to have you take it down and then get in a new system. The beauty is they allow you to get in the new TriCaster Vizion. You can get that in there. You can start migrating your projects, start migrating your connections there, and you can keep your TriCaster 2 Elite up and running. You've got 60 days before that unit needs to get back into Vizrt's hands to do this trade in. So that's the nice thing is you don't have to like flip the switch. You can slowly migrate over there. And that's a really great thing because it is such a key, both these systems are going to be so key to your productions that they're giving you time to make the transition from one platform to the next.
Absolutely. And Vizrt does have a lot of great training tools available, lots of great videos available. So they really do have the materials available for your customers to take advantage of that 60-day period to get used to the TriCaster Vizion system. And they're going to get a ton of power from that. So I want to reiterate again, and Glenn, I'm going to ask you to walk us through this slide on what some of those differences are between the TC2E and the new TriCaster Vizion.
Yeah. So, the first thing is, you've got your choices. You can either do, on the Vizion, you can either do a rack or a tower. Both are rack mountable, but you've got a rack and a tower configuration. You've got more inputs. So you've got 16 configurable inputs. So in the TriCaster 2 Elite, you had 8 inputs, 8 outputs. But in the Vizion, you've got a total of 16. It can be any combination. You can have 2 inputs and 12, outputs or 14 outputs, whatever you want. Like I mentioned before, you've got more inputs on the system. So you've jumped up to 44 inputs. You've got an additional 12 inputs into the system. You've got a longer warranty, 12G. You do not have any 12G IO on the TriCaster 2 Elite. So now you've got up to 8 12G inputs or outputs in the system as well. It includes Flowics. You've got more DSKs, all those AI features I mentioned, the AI keyer, the AI gaze correction, HDR support and 10-bit support. That's the other thing too. So you've got both HDR support and 10-bit support in the system. So really a combination of what the hardware brings you and what the software brings you, plus all those easier configurable interfaces for setting up all your inputs and outputs are all available in the Vizion system.
Absolutely. There's enough there within that system that when you're talking to customers with the TriCaster 2 Elite, they know how important that system is in their production environment. And with all of these upgrade capabilities, this is going to be one of the easier conversations you can have, especially when you talk about that trade-up opportunity right now, getting into this system for under $25,000. Next, I want to introduce another bundle, which is the TriCaster Vizion Ultimate Production Bundle. The Ultimate Production Bundle is the same desktop version of the TriCaster Vizion with 16 SDI I/O built into the device itself. Now, this bundle includes the VizConnect audio plus the Flex Dual control panel. Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about the Flex Dual control panel?
Yeah, so the Flex Dual, really is for folks, that are doing a couple things. The way I describe it is really if you're working on 2 productions simultaneously, and that's the beauty of the Dual. It is basically 2 control panels, so it's a duplicate of everything. And the beauty of that is you can either use, again, all the inputs and outputs you have on that TriCaster. You can either use that to produce two completely separate productions, or maybe you're doing it to produce one production for in-house and the other production that's going out for live stream, so you can kind of change that. A lot of times what this is used for too is, maybe what I'm doing is I'm producing my live event, but I'm also switching the content that's going on in the room as far as what's going on the screens, behind the presenters and things like that. So it really just gives you that ability to, from one control panel, to switch very complex shows, to switch multiple MEs, to switch stuff that's going on in the monitors behind, to switch a separate show for the stream. So really, allows you to create very quickly and easily complex productions.
And the best argument you can make is right now, with this Ultimate Production Bundle special at $44,990, this bundle ends up being less expensive than if you would bundle the same TriCaster Vizion with the regular Flex control panel at regular pricing. Now you can get what would normally cost with the TriCaster Vizion, the Flex control panel, $47,490. You can get the bundle with the dual Flex control panel for under $45,000. So it really is a great add-on. And of course, I should mention you are still getting that free VizConnect audio as well. So that Ultimate Production Bundle, which is the BDL 108, is a great package for your customers that are looking to get into that TriCaster Vizion with the control surface, giving them everything they need in kind of the best of both worlds from a flagship production point of view. Next, I want to introduce the promo that's available on the rack mountable version of the TriCaster Vizion. This is the TriCaster Vizion rack with 8 SDI I/O bundled with that free VizConnect audio at a $4,000 savings, coming in at just $31,995. Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about some of the differences with the Vizion rack versus the desktop unit that we talked about on the last two bundles?
Yeah, so the Vizion rack, is kind of self-explanatory. It's rack mount. As I mentioned before, both are rack mountable. The big difference with the Vizion rack, it is a 1 RU rack mountable unit. The Vizion tower, when you rack it, is going to be up to 4 RUs. So if you don't need, if you have limited real estate, then you're really going to want to go with the 1 RU rack mount unit. It has up to 8, so you can only put one SDI card in it, so you can only go up to 8, whereas with the tower, you can go up to, a second card, which gives you that 16 IO. But it is it's still going to give you all the features. You're not losing anything feature-wise. You're really just losing on the IO side of the unit itself. So if you're just looking for something that fits in a rack, maybe you're putting it in a truck, maybe you're putting in a machine room with limited space, that is the way to go.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, again, from our notes, if you are comparing it to any of the TriCaster Vizion racks from the regular price sheets, this promo is this one to sell. The promo bundle is the 107 bundle. When you compare that to the regular rack, which is the BDL 49, it is a $4,000 savings. That is the same rack mountable version with 8 SDI. You're getting $4,000 off plus the VizConnect audio. When you compare it to the rack mountable version with no SDI hardware, you're still saving money and you're still getting the VizConnect audio. So with this 107 bundle at $31,995, this is the rack mountable bundle to offer any of your customers that are looking for that rack mountable space saving design. We talked a lot about that VizConnect audio being included in these promotional bundles. And of course, this is a brand new product from Vizrt in that TriCaster family, with the audio capabilities to expand their production capabilities. Glenn, can you tell us a little bit more about the VizConnect audio?
Yeah, the VizConnect audio, you got to kind of change the way you think about audio interfaces. The one thing that's the one thing that you do not have, when you look at comparing the other TriCasters to the Vizion, is the other TriCasters have analog inputs. There are no analog inputs in the TriCaster Vizion. So the Connect audio really answers that solution by giving you 8 mono inputs. So you've got a rack mount 1 RU rack mount unit that has 8 mono inputs. It's the combination connectors. So you can either use XLR or quarter inch. So it'll take both of those. Each one of those connectors has phantom power. So actually, if you need to supply power from microphones, you can do that. Each line in can either be a mic or line. The other thing that's neat about this is on the front of it, you have the ability to go up to it and put in all your audio sources, but now it really becomes more of a monitoring device as well, completely independently. There's buttons on the front of it. You can plug in a headphone jack, and if you want to just quickly say, hey, I need to check the audio on channel 1, you can punch up any of those channels and listen to those channels and monitor them. And because this is all now bringing in these audio sources as NDI, it also means any other NDI device on your network has access to those audio sources as well. So maybe my TriCaster, Vizion is going to be my main production system, and I have a mini somewhere else that I'm using for smaller productions. Well, guess what? All that audio can now be routed into that environment as well. So this is really a big step up for Vizrt and the TriCaster family by having an audio only processing box.
Excellent. I think we have to do a half a shot of tequila because you almost said new tech. You didn't
I've
quite.
been trying to avoid it. Yeah.
So this is my favorite slide in the deck because it really does show you how these promotions simplify the Vizrt TriCaster Vizion offerings that are available now. If you remember, the TriCaster Vizion was launched with 3 desktop versions, 2 rack mountable versions. With these promotional bundles available right now, it is simplified more than ever. You have on the left side of my screen here the TriCaster Vizion Tower with 16 SDI I/O. This is the ultimate version of what that tower can give you. With a $4,000 savings and a free VizConnect audio, that tower comes in at $33,995. If your customers are trading up a TriCaster 2 Elite, they save even more and can get into that bundle for $24,995. Your customers who are looking to add a control surface to the TriCaster Vizion, they can do it with the Flex dual control panel for that ultimate bundle at $44,990. That is going to be the best deal to get a TriCaster Vizion and a control panel in one package with that ultimate control panel, the Flex dual control. And then, of course, you have that rack mountable version with the Vizion rack with 8 SDI I/O, a free VizConnect audio, the $4,000 savings at $31,995. You notice on this slide, all of the images we have of the TriCaster Vizion have the Vizrt logo badge on the front of those HP workstations. And we're showing the back panels here with the SDI I/O capabilities. If you do not have these images, please reach out to your Broadfield sales contact or to me directly at jim@broadfield.com, and we'd be happy to get these images to you. I would also be happy to share more information on these promotional offers and on notes of where they fit in to the TriCaster Vizion product line so that you're offering these as the best solutions to your customers as opposed to the regular priced packages which are part of that TriCaster Vizion launch. If you have any questions at all, Glen and his engineering team are available at 800-634-5178. You can reach out to your Broadfield sales team, or you can reach out to anyone here at Broadfield, and we can help answer any of those questions. Glen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to make sure people understand the cool thing about these bundles is as soon as you start talking vision to somebody, with these bundles and these promos that they've put together, you can quickly get them into their highest end solution at a less price and going into something lower. As you said before, I mean, these are just great. It makes it a no-brainer to offer somebody the top of the line vision solution at a price that is really, it makes so much sense.
Absolutely. And the prices we talked about are available through the quarter, so through June 30th. So there is still plenty of time to get these out on your projects, put them in bids, quote them to your customers. It includes the perpetual license of TriCaster Vizion. It includes the 3 years of Flowics, which is driving all of your TriCaster graphics. It includes service and support. It includes hardware warranty. Everything you need to talk to your customers about are included in these promotional bundles. Glen, thank you. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you. You too.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers, so call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.